One of the nice things about Friday night was I took a group of about 35 freshmen up to the North Fond du Lac game on a spectator bus. And for $10, they got the trip to the game, admission, and pizza at the pub afterwards. So it was a nice way to have a nice freshman-only activity, which the kids asked for to start the school year. The one thing I was going to add, Joe, about the plan on the page and things like that, the feedback we got from the staff, because the high school's had 2 kicks at the can now to go through it, and the feedback we've gotten, it's probably the most efficient, clear direction that we've had in many years in terms of what our purpose is and what our goals are. And once we develop our goal teams, everybody in the building will have a stake in the success of that plan on the page, where it used to be maybe a small group, but all 26 staff members will have a role in monitoring it and implementing it. So I think that's the key that I heard back from staff on that.
Appreciate the feedback on that. For the youth apprenticeship, are we just doing seniors? And I didn't know
juniors.
That it is juniors. So is
seniors.
there? So it's juniors as well.
Yeah. There's a stipulation in terms of how many hours you may have over a 2-year period versus a 1-year period.
Sure.
The nice thing about the Y is you don't have to leave school to get the hours. So if you have a part-time job on weekends and evenings, you can still be YA eligible and never leave the building, which is really nice.
Now, is there YA eligible jobs that we can even consider within our school district itself, whether it be food service, anything like that? Have we thought about that at all? And I don't know.
It would be
what those type of capabilities.
More on the mechanical side,
More on
because
the
there is a
mechanical.
maintenance strand.
Okay.
That would be.
And I'm just thinking of,
Yep.
I always like it, because if you go to college, you see, like even down in the
Yeah.
tutors are there and they're getting paid, those types of things like that, it's kept in house.
We've actually talked about that. It may not be YA appropriate, but
Okay.
if we have graduates who we know, for example, will be self-serving, are going to go into education,
Sure.
and would be really good fits for us, and we projected out staffing out years from now. We've already talked to some kids who we know are going to go into early childhood, or juniors at Stevens Point right now. We've already started to build those relationships, but we're not doing enough of that during their 4 years at school.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I don't know what the,
No,
how you go about it, liabilities, all that other type of stuff is all.
actually, because we can have school workers, we have the kids in the summer that work, but that's not as defined under a career pathway as it probably should be.
What does a student get by working in one of those job classification? What does that do for them?
The easiest thing I can say, Jim, is that they'll complete the skills checklist, and that's worth a lot of things, from the opportunity for job advancement to a raise in pay, the ability to be a little more mobile in terms of position. So what we've heard back from not only the state as well as employers is that skills checklist is really a big piece, because you might have a welding certificate that's part of that. Now I can do this job. I've spent this many hours. And I think the key is the combination between the school and the employer working, because they're going to be enrolled in a course. That's the big piece of YA. You can't go into a machinist YA without having taken or being enrolled in that class. So I think it's the best combination of hands-on and book learning that we have. But the feedback we get is the ability to advance and make more money, and it puts you a leg up that other entry-level employees may not have. And these don't go away, so I may get my YA now, go to a 2-year or 4-year school. I still have that certificate with me as long as I'll be there, which is nice for the kids. The drills, I don't know if that's where you were going, Mr. Fink, or not, but with our new space in the building, we learned today a couple different things on the shelter in place. The plus is we now have more space than we really have ever had, and we can be really effective with our kids in terms of safe places to be. We still use the lowest level of the building, because technically we do have that second floor, even though it's a ground floor. And working with our local fire department, they still recommend the lower and more interior you can be, the better, because normally it's things that fly around that will get you. So there has been although we got rid of all the glass in the cafeteria, there are still large portions near the cafeteria with glass. So we'll still use our kitchen in long hallways where there are no windows, but I thought the kids did really well. Dick got down there. The one thing we've noticed is kids get to their shelter areas quicker now than ever before. Not even close. Just because they've got probably 2 more access points to where we have them shelter in place now. And along with that, and we'll learn about this more on the 25th, but we have a really, the new spaces, the alt ed is one I'll mention tonight. We've got about 6 or 7 kids taking advanced placement courses online. That was the best way to offer those in terms of efficiency of staff and budget. They've got a nice section kind of chiseled out of the library where they can access the online and alternative learning pieces. The other thing we've noticed is the kids and parents have really understood where we want traffic flow. If you've driven by the high school where we used to have cars and just what would you call it, Scott?
Before you could never find a parking spot.
Yeah, and now
I would come up and like, okay,
we're far
we're in the
more
front again.
customer friendly now because you can find a spot up in front. Our kids before and after school are using what we call the lower cardinal entrance. And the drop off in front is going very well because there's just no other traffic up there. It's simply just drop off, no more parked cars. So everyone's done very, very well with that, we think, and those are the couple changes that we have seen right away. In addition to the 25th, and I don't know if I mentioned this last time, this Friday we'll be giving the 1994 state championship team and their families a tour of the building. Then we have the Lions coming in this week, Scott, for a tour. And then the class of 69 and the class of 74 coming up for tours. So those are more outside groups that could not make it on the 25th or normally wouldn't because a lot of them are out of town. So over the next month and a half, we'll have 4 pretty large groups that have made a point of coming through our building.
We're getting a lot of good advertising from that. You know,
Yeah.
kids that live in other communities now.
Yeah.
That
Well,
show up for that.
One of the two of the tours we were giving this week to students was the family referenced the opportunity to come to new facilities. So that was nice to hear.
Well, today one of the parts of the dialogue is about blended learning opportunities. So that's the other thing too is now we're finally in front of it. So we've got our virtual school options and we encourage people to come into the building to class, but it's not always the right fit. So to have our virtual options and a blend for them is great to be able to do.
I think the blended opportunities is a blended college education as well, because
Yeah.
that's a lot of where they're going half the time in the classroom. And they're half on
For sure.
It's-
So the only thing I want to say that was super cool for me was at the volleyball match last Thursday. And I was looking over at the student section and I just did the math and I said, there's like 150 kids over there. So how many students ended up there?
It was about 150.
Yeah, about 150 fans at the volleyball match. So the student body is 387 kids. So that's
Awesome.
a very large turnout for one volleyball match.
And I should compliment a couple of our Interact Club, Student Council, our senior leadership group has really done a nice job promoting those events because they do theme nights. If you haven't been to a high school game in a while, like that night was Jersey night against, and part of it was HorrorCon. I pointed at Becky, I shouldn't. But that type of rivalry is pretty friendly and a lot of good turnout from community members and things like that. But our senior class has done a really good job promoting a lot of school spirit and getting to games and supporting the teams.
Okay, thanks again to the principals and the superintendent. Great reports, Dennis. We really appreciate it.
We have 2 people out in the audience who are ready to roll. So Emily and Carrie.
Okay, let's get them up here right
So
away.
there's an actual action item on the agenda, but that's later. So they're here to talk to you about our new mentoring program that we
We are.
have
Hello.
for faculty.
Yes. So Emily and I have been working on the mentoring program at our district. Basically, the DPI came up with a plan where they said that these are some of the new guidelines that we want you to follow. And so they have a rationale, which was new educators and their students benefit from a wide level of support, promoting collaboration and shared expertise, builds instructional continuity and increases professional expertise. The components they would like us to have in our program are ongoing orientation, support seminars, which is like monthly meetings and monthly support, and then qualified and trained mentor. So you're going to see later that we have a proposal of some mentor stipends, and in the past we've had building mentors, and we're adding just a teeny bit to our mentor program. We're going to outline it in just a moment. And so they're looking at the outcomes as being increased student learning, decreased expenses, because we will have less staff turnover if we support our staff and make sure that they have what they need. Strength and commitment to the profession, and improved building continuity. And so I am Carrie Matheson, and I am the KA Curriculum Director. And this is Emily Sell, and Emily is now our 5th grade teacher. She moved from 6th to 5th. But she also, when I said, hey, is anyone interested in being a mentor coordinator, she jumped up and I said, I knew that I could count on someone who was going to be a go-getter. And she absolutely has been. So what you're going to see right now is a collaboration, but really mainly things that Emily has done. So,
Well, thank you.
you're on deck. And there she is.
There I am. So this is an outline that we gave to the mentees in the program. And so it is a 3-year program, and we wanted to acknowledge people's time already in profession, whether that means time here in Mayville or time prior to coming to Mayville. And so in our collaboration, we talked about a scaffolded approach. And so with that, I am the district mentor coordinator, but I am also the building mentor for the middle school. We collaborated with Becky Lavotin and identified Mary Seiler as the building mentor for Parkview. And then we collaborated with Lee and identified Deb Nennig as the high school's building mentor.
And some of these people have been in this position before, but the program is just being a little bit updated.
So in terms of how it is scaffolded, if it is a first year professional and they are also new to profession, they receive a one-on-one mentor, which some of the stipends will be coming up later. And it's suggested an hour of contact per week with the mentor and mentee, whether that's meetings or lunches. I got excited today. I walked down the hall and I saw somebody from Parkview came and had lunch with somebody from the middle school, and that was a mentor-mentee. I'm like, yes, it worked. But it's really just what works for them, and it's not anything that's documented. It's a rule of thumb. And so when I talk to the building mentors or the one-on-ones, that's kind of my expectation is I'm going to hear about how they're connecting with their mentee. We're also going to be implementing an observation of lesson, 2 or 3 of them in the academic year, and that is going to be between the mentor and the mentee. That can be the mentee observing the mentor, or vice versa, the mentor coming in and observing the mentee based on need, and they choose the focus as long as there is a plan, a conversation, and a follow-through of reflection and modeling that. And then monthly attendance to mentor-mentee meetings, which we have our first one coming up this Thursday.
And I believe we have 3 new to profession this year, correct?
I'd have to sit and
Okay,
think.
about. So
Yeah.
we've got about 3 one-to-one mentor situations right now.
So if you could go back one slide, we are differentiating if it's their first year in the district and then, but they're coming in with experience. They do not receive a one-on-one mentor. They have access to the building mentor. So that's where myself, Mary Seiler, and Deb Nennig come in. But same hour of contact, it switches to per month here or as needed. And then observations, it's a tool that if they want to use it, it's their choice though.
And so, for instance, one of the examples I can give is that our new K-5 music teacher. She did teach music before, but quite a while ago. And so she has been removed from the situation for a little while. So when we bring her back in, we're saying that, yes, you are a new to the profession because she's been removed from it for so long, and so we hooked her up with a one-to-one mentor.
Which she agreed to because we asked her what she would prefer. So, if it's a second year in the district, so if they had a first year last year, they have access to us as a building mentor and 1 hour contact per month, optional attendance to meetings. So with our meeting this coming Thursday, I did send the invite to all second year teaching staff, and I did have a few of them say, yes, count me in, I will be there, which is awesome. I'm excited to connect with them because I mentored them last year. But then guided reflection and goal setting per DPI suggested topics. So the ones for this month were how to use data in your classroom, how do you make connections with the learners, and then how are you reflecting what goals do you have for this coming year to kind of help them with educator effectiveness. Third year, they have access to us as building mentors again, and they just have the guided reflection process. So kind of a weaning off of support, but it's definitely, as we build those relationships, hoping that the school culture, school community, among staff, and continuity with language and things like that to improve. So one more, if you want to see the suggested by DPI focus. So they are non-evaluative relationships between building mentors, one-on-one mentors, and the mentees. And the focus is in student learning and differentiated instruction and practice. So overall, the art of teaching as well as the what and when support.
One of the things that we had talked about is Mrs. Fink, right?
Mhm.
You had mentioned acronyms.
Yeah.
We had talked about at our meeting on Thursday to bring up some acronyms for some of our new teachers because they're not going to have any idea
I have an alphabet soup that didn't.
what a lot of these acronyms are.
To borrow
So
that.
it was something that's I was like snickering back there when I heard you say that. So that's what we have. So thank you.
Thank
Do
you.
you work with the principals at different times?
No. Yeah, we do. We do.
I'm bugging them right now for a couple examples, but I try to keep them in loop as much as I can. I share all of the things that I share with staff, I share with them. So.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you're
And
an
then we also
advocate
have-
for the new hires, you're an advocate as
Yep.
a mentor for our new hires.
Yes.
You're in a non-evaluative role, so it's absolutely very important that they have a connection with the administrators, just a pulse on how things are going. I appreciate the formal nature behind it and the scaffold approach, and just, I've seen for us, like it's inconsistent, so I'm okay saying, hey, we've just been inconsistent with it even since I've been here, so it's great to see this formal piece to it. It is a DPI requirement, by the way.
Mhm, it is.
So we've unpacked and said, here's what it means to us, and worked with our staff to say, okay, you know what, you're new to the district but not new to the profession, so here's where your place is, which I think is great. But we needed to put the system in place. It had to happen. We were told
Yes.
in the entire state of Wisconsin, every school district was told, here's the recommended model, make it so.
Do we have enough bodies with a lot of new hires in the last year?
Yeah, no, they came up with a good model, and maybe what you want to do is just go right, since you're there, let's maybe just go right to that as an action item, and you can see the mentor stipend part that's in the agenda for tonight. So that'd just be a natural one.
F.
I couldn't figure out, there was no hours with this.
No.
It's a stipend
No.
amount based upon expectations that go with it,
Mhm.
right? So you have a mentor, actually like our mentor coordinator, and then you have the building mentor, and then you have the one-on-one. Okay, so right now what just happened was they covered the expectations with the duty, the weekly contacts, the monthly meetings. So they'll need to be at the monthly meetings, otherwise obviously.
Mhm. Mentors and mentees are expected.
Okay, so this is the stipends, this wasn't this isn't a contract, this is just stating, here's who they'll be working with. So right now, Ms. Sell, as the building mentor for 5th grade, it will be working with these individuals.
So
And many of these are not new to the profession, these are experienced educators, so they can benefit from the coordinated program, but they do not need the one-on-one. So the one-on-one is designated down below.
I couldn't figure that out yet. Okay.
And then adding to that, after this meeting, will be the new art teacher.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
They will be under my supervision for mentoring as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is it's an actual action item. So if you would like them to go through and more detail, that list, they can do that just real quick. Stay there,
Okay?
okay?
I was just asking, like, do I sit down?
And I was like,
Okay.
good.
So Dick, you would just need to
Yep.
bring the,
I'm getting to the rate page there.
so what she said. it's
It
got.
is 65.
65. Okay, motion's in order.
So moved.
Who was that, Jim? Motion's in order to accept the mentor stipends.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes?
There's,
We gotta
Second.
second it, I'll second it.
there's two numbers for, Emily because one stipend would be for the building mentor and one is for a building coordinator? Is that right?
Actually, district coordinator.
District coordinator.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Mhm. And then the
It's a lot of work.
difference.
Any other, yeah, how much time?
Yeah,
did
we're
we
getting
put
a
in?
very good deal.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll hear about it next year.
Carrie's using her connections, that's for sure.
Any other questions of the two? If not, Jim?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Passed.
Thank
You're
you.
in.
Thank
Thanks
you
again
very
for the
much.
presentation, really
Mhm.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
What would be great is to have a follow-up at the end of the year.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Any other possible future action items? Unfinished business? I don't remember yesterday. New business. Resolution 60, approval of hire. Michelle Harrington, secretary, middle school. You girls can make motions too, you know.
I'll second this one.
All right.
Was Jim originally?
No, Joe.
Joe.
It sounds alike over there, that's the problem.
I work on that voice all the time to sound like him.
I make a mistake.
Okay, who wants to speak to this?
I will. The middle school is looking for approval to hire Michelle Harrington for a administrative assistant at the Mayville Middle School. This is a fiscal year or year-round position, and this individual will replace our former administrative assistant who resigned to take a job closer to where she lives. So Mrs. Harrington does have school experience both at a school level as an administrative assistant and at the district level, working as under the director of curriculum and learning in a large school district just south of us. And she also has human resource assistant experience as well within a school district further south of us. And so she comes to us with a lot of skills in the programs that we use here, and it'll be great to have her on board with her past experience and with her knowledge of schools and how they run, and your use of software to support our work at the middle school as we continue to move forward in restructuring.
Any questions? If not, Joe?
Aye.
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 Passed. 5-0-2.
We're super fortunate to find someone with experience. When we left a few years ago, there was no one from the school field that applied, so that's very exciting.
Okay, resolution 61, approval to hire our teacher. Okay, Jennifer, I'll give up on the last name. Kinnick. Motion's in order. Come on. Second.
Are you seconding it?
Not me.
Oh, I thought you said second.
Looking for a
I
second.
will.
Okay, who wants to speak to this?
I can.
Okay.
So with the resignation of our previous art teacher, right at the start of the school year, we quickly put in application for our K-7 art teacher and had some applicants apply, and we were able to sit together. So Bob, Sarah Heidemann, Megan Haney, and I sat down and interviewed candidates, and Jennifer came up, rose to the top as being a candidate that would fit the needs that we have here at Parkview. She's coming to us with about 18 years of art teaching experience. We are looking forward